Alright guys, how's it going today? So it's just going to be another scorcher day. I think they're talking about 80. She's nice and breezy though. And the sun's going to be out, they say, for the next, I don't know, about 4 days or so. Not that I'm complaining much about that. So, but yeah. So anyways, I put the, well, you guys remember, maybe you don't remember. Anyways, I fixed up the 1596. I put the new solenoid in for the starter. The key switch was the last thing that showed up. I put that in. And then we put the thermostat in. And we put all that in. And then I was waiting for a good day to show up so we could work the trail. Which actually was yesterday when I did it, because it was just dry enough that I could work it. But yet, she had a little bit of moisture in there, but it wasn't too bad. It wasn't like really sticking or anything. So I just said the hell with it and rolled on with it. So, but anyways, we're still broke down, even though it was running. But we're still broke down technically, because this is a kind of an important problem. So my uncle's the one that noticed it. I kind of didn't really realize it, but I kind of just figured, because the fuel filters were getting dirty and the whole part of the tractor was getting dirty. I just figured, well, maybe it was from us taking the fuel filters off so many times there, that everything got kind of soaked in diesel fuel. But you think diesel fuel would dry up after a few days, but it just kind of kept getting worse and worse. And then my uncle looked over here and he was like, you got a leak. You got a leak of diesel fuel here. So I looked at it. Sure enough, it's pissing. I tried to correct it, but it wasn't going to work. So, anyways, if you guys saw that last video that I uploaded on, I was talking about that my bleeder valve was leaking for the fuel filters. And well, here it is now. I took it out just about 20 minutes ago. So this is my problem. This is that little bleeder valve. The one guy in that yesterday's video or whatever, he recommended to take this, the bolt out and then put, I guess like plumber's tape on it or something, and then just retighten it back down. I was gonna try that, but this doesn't come out, so that's not gonna work either. I have to replace this little valve, and International or Case IH or whatever, they don't even have a part number for this, so I don't know where to buy it. So I looked on, like, I Googled it, so I was looking for bleeder valves or whatever you want to call them. They make some, and they make one that was pretty similar to this, but the problem with that is that this is a fine thread, and the other one was not, so that's not going to work. And they only wanted like $8 or $9 for it, and they wanted another $2.50 or whatever the hell it was for shipping. So I figured, well, that would probably work, even though I don't know the size of that. The size of that, like the diameter of that or whatever. So my theory is, if I can't find this in a fine thread like this is, I'm just gonna have to go to the hardware and he'll have to find me a fine threaded bolt that's this size, because I'm sure they're out there. And I'll just have to stick that in there, and that'll just have to fucking do it. There's not much I can do about it. So, because you would think that these wouldn't be too hard to find, which, for a regular thread design, they're not that hard to find. But if you want something in a fine thread or a narrow thread, whatever you want to call that, they might be a little trickier to find. So I don't know. I haven't looked them up yet because I just got home. But yeah, I just wanted to show what this kind of looked like so you guys would know. But that's the original one. That's been on the tractor, I suppose, since day one, since the day it was built. Because I can't tell if that's ever been replaced. But you can see how mangled, I don't know if that's sharp or not. You can see how mangled the head is, the screw. Okay, so that's from me. Now, when you bleed your system, after you've changed your filters, you crack this open and then you'll let your air escape and then your fuel will come out instead. Well, you're supposed to be able to just take a regular wrench and stick it on there and it should just come loose. Well, for me, it wasn't doing that. When we would try, it just started rounding it off. So then it's like, well, that's not going to work. So then we brought out the one thing that we knew was going to work, and that's the trusty vice grips. So, and that's what destroyed it all the more. And locking vice grips. You see, I got a big collection of them. These are the bigger ones, and this is the little one. I got one of these little ones in every machine I have. So, Big Red, John Deere. I don't think the 1586 has one, so I might have to get one more. But yeah, I keep one of these in every machine because you just never know when you might need them because they work better than a socket or carrying a big toolbox around, So that, and then on the 1586, I keep a hammer and some screwdrivers, just some miscellaneous tools that you may need. So, but I do have a regular pair of pliers in there, but I need to put some locking pliers in there as well. So, but yeah, and then getting this out was a fight. So I don't know how, I'm not going to be able to show you this really. Well, I'll try, but. So, like I said, this would be in your tractor. Of course, this would be torqued to whatever specs, and then this is what would come loose. Okay, so now it's come loose. So it's loose, and that's it. It's not coming out any more than that. So right now she's open, so she's going to bleed air out. Okay. So you can even see how kind of on an angle that is. It might just be the way it's sitting in there. It's kind of loose. See, it seems kind of a little loosey. So I don't know, it's probably just wore out. But anyways, and then you have this nut right here, which is, obviously fixed to this thing. But this is what you would use, obviously, to back the whole thing out. Well, as you can probably not tell, it's been chewed to shit. I don't know, it's probably not going to focus on that too well, because it wants to focus on my big face instead, but it's, yeah, it's probably not going to focus. I keep trying to tell it to focus, but it's not going to focus. So, but again, you're supposed to be able to just put like a regular wrench on there or something, and then you can just back it out when you need to. See, I think this is made out of brass or something like that because it's very weak. And I think with time they get soft. I don't know. So, but this is beyond mangled, and he's got a little hole in the bottom. That's just to let it bleed out. But I think a regular bolt would work too. You just got to probably loosen it up a lot. So, my bet is if I can't find a new bleeder valve in this fine threaded design, I'm just going to have to go to the hardware and see if they can get me a bolt in that size. Same length. Basically it'd be the same thing as this. It's just cut off the bleeder part of it, which is what I'm holding currently. A little bleeder screw. And then that'll just be a bolt. And then that'll just have to do. So, until either I find something like this or just that's what it's going to have to be. So, because I don't think this is a replaceable part from Case IH. I don't think it is. Because if it was, there'd be a part number to it, and you have a lot better luck finding that little piece. So, my theory is you're probably never going to find one. Unless you find one off a junk tractor, but then that's another thing too, is if you're trying to find one off a junk tractor, you're probably going to mangle it getting it off anyway, unless you're really careful, but, I don't know. So, but this is done. I mean, there's nothing I can do with this. I have to replace it, so I either have to replace it with another one, and it'll probably have to be, because I doubt Case IH would sell this. So I'm going to have to try to find some aftermarket brand of this. Or I will just have to switch over to a bolt. And I'll just have to roll with that then for, I guess, until those threads decide to strip out. So I don't know. It might be the best because, you know, replacing the bolts would be a lot cheaper. I think you can get bolts that are softer. So then that way, when this decides to give out, the bolt, then you'll wreck the threads on this, you know, on the bolt, instead of the actual, I guess they call it a fuel head assembly. That's where your fuel filters screw onto. Well, instead of, because you can replace those too, but currently I can only find used ones. Can't find any new ones or any that have been rebuilt. So my theory would be to save that head, which maybe to try to find a bolt that's soft, and then that way if the threads, you know, so that if the threads give out, then they'll give out on the bolt first before they give out on anything else. That's my theory on that. I don't know, but I don't know if they make bolts that are fairly soft, you know, but yet still a fine thread or what. I don't really know. But that's if I can't find another bleeder valve like that. And I don't even, like I said, I don't know what size that is because it's not a part number. It's not even on the book. So I guess if you can gauge that size, I guess let me know what it is. So then I know what to kind of look for. I mean, I can take that to the hardware and then he'll run that through his little, he's got like a little thing there on the shelf that tells you what size the bolt would be. If you don't know the size, then he can stick it in there, and if it screws in, well, then it's that size. So, but if you guys know what that is, I guess let me know. And then I'm just going to have to order either try to find another bleeder valve like that, or I'm just going to have to put an ordinary bolt in it. There's really nothing I can do. If I put an ordinary bolt in there, I want to try to see if I can get maybe a rubber washer or two. I don't know if they make rubber washers. I know they make the regular ones, but I'm pretty sure they made rubber ones too. See, like right here, you know, these are just regular steel flat washers. Well, I think they make rubber ones too. So I might try to get a couple of those just so, you know, once I tighten the bolt down, there should be a tight seal there so then no fuel can come out. And I guess if it just has a very minor drip, like maybe once an hour it drips, then I might have to deal with it. But that is a severe drip because I ran it because I worked the trails yesterday and she was basically dripping, and it dripped. I must have ran that tractor probably for, I don't know, maybe an hour and a half. Didn't take much to work that trail back over again, surprisingly, but by the time I got done, the whole side of the engine block where it was leaking, covered in diesel fuel. That side of the rail, covered in diesel fuel. I was like, well, that's a pretty big drip then. Because if it would have been just a tiny little drip, it shouldn't have been that bad then for just running an hour and a half. So, to me, that's probably a pretty severe leak. So, I don't really know what else I could do, you know. Because there's nothing wrong with the head of the, you know, the thing. So, this is just my problem. If I can find a replacement for that, then I should be good then. So, like I said, I'm going to try looking around a little bit on eBay or the other bleeder valve that I found, which I thought would work. That was on eBay. But that has the regular threads, and I guess that's a fine thread, so I got to find something that's in a fine thread. So, yeah. And if I can't find a bleeder valve in that size, which I'm sure they got to be out there because that exists, so you think they would make replacements. Just not by Case IH, probably like an aftermarket company or something, but if I can't find one, then I'm going to have to be forced to stick an ordinary bolt in there and then just put a couple of washers on it and, you know, crank it down to whatever it is and then leave it. That's all I can do. As long as it ain't leaking, I'm going to leave it. But I would like to have a bleeder valve so then just be more convenient when you have to bleed it. Even though I shouldn't really have to change the filters too much now because That other filter I got in there has a drain on it, so if I do get any water in the filters, I can just drain that one out. So, well, that would explain why my filters are turning shitty. Even that brand new filter I put on, just completely garbage now. Like, it's still functional, it's fully functional, but it's just getting dirty now, right? So, and so is the side of my engine, and it's the side of my rail. So, great. But I don't know, and I, like I said, I did try tightening it up, but then you go to that certain point, and then you try to go a little bit more, and then it just springs right back up. So I know there's something mangled inside that. There's no saving that. One guy said to put tape on it. Would have been a good idea if I could have gotten that son of a bitch out, but it's not coming out. And at first I was thinking, well, maybe it's, you know, this area, this fine threaded area. Maybe it's leaking there. Maybe it's, you know, loose. I checked it. It's fine. So I wiped it clean, and we had it running. It's coming out of the screw. So the screw is mangled. Well, the whole thing's mangled anyway because it was a bitch to loosen it. Because I don't know if it's ever been dealt. If the last one has ever, you know, did anything with it. I don't know what they use that tractor for in the wintertime. I suppose nothing. It probably sat all winter. Well, see, to me, we're running this tractor year round, so, you know, I'm actually using my valves and changing filters, you know, so, but the last owner, they probably used it in fall, and then it was parked all winter long, which would probably explain the rat nest that was in the cab. So we cleaned all that out now. So, but other than that, though, the tractor, like, I don't know, when I was running it yesterday, it sounded kind of funny to me, like it wasn't running right. I don't know, maybe it wasn't running on all cylinders like it should be, but maybe that is because of this. I have a slight leak, and maybe not every cylinder is getting the fuel it needs. I don't know. But then it also has been close to a month that I haven't heard this thing run, so maybe my ears forget what it sounds like. So it sounded a little bit different to me. So, I don't know, it could just be me, but I don't know. But yeah, if you guys know where to find that bleeder valve, I guess let me know. Like I said, I'll snoop around on eBay a little bit and Google it, but if you guys come up with a part number, I guess, or if you find another one like this, let me know. And would prefer to find it here in the U.S., not have to go overseas with it, because then you're talking a month of it, you know, of it taking to get here. So don't really have that kind of downtime. But if that's my only choice, well, then what I'll have to do is I'll have to order it, and just have to take its time getting here, and I'll just have to stick a bolt in there in the meantime. I got a regular bolt in there right now, but it ain't tight. It's just sitting in there just to kind of help keep junk out. So, because I was hoping that would have been a regular thread, because then I just would have stuck an ordinary bolt in there and called it a day until I could find a bleeder valve. But since I can't find, since the one that I have found is not going to work, I got to find a different one now. So, but if you guys know of anybody that sells them or whatever, I guess throw it at me and let me know, give me the link or something or whatever, I don't know. Just I guess help me in any way you can, because other than that, then I will just have to do the best I can, and then if I can't find a stupid thing, then I'm sticking an ordinary goddamn bolt in there and calling it a day. I think you can still bleed it even with the bolt. You'll have to loosen it quite a bit, but the only reason why I don't want to do it is because I don't want to wreck the threads inside the head, because then you're forced to replace the head if something goes wrong. So, but if I could find a bolt that's soft, then maybe those threads would give out on the bolt first before stripping out that. So, I imagine they wouldn't have to be too crazy tight anyway, especially if you put a rubber washer on it. Shouldn't have to be that tight, so. But anyways, guys, I guess I'm going to take off. I guess just if you have any information on that, I guess throw it at me and let me know. But there's no fixing that one, so I just took it out. Plus, I had to know anyway if that was a fine thread or a regular thread, and sure enough, it's a goddamn fine thread. So I got to find a fine thread, and if I don't find one, well then I'll have to get a bolt, because I know they make fine thread bolts. So I got to just find one that's the correct size for that, and then that'll just have to do until I guess I find one. So. anyways, guys, I guess I'm going to take off. So I guess I have a good day and stuff. So, yeah. Thanks for watching, guys. Take her easy.